Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Zollo. Week 14, for many of you, the final week of the fantasy football regular season, whether that be to slide into the playoffs, whether that be to coast into the playoffs because you already have a spot, or whether that be to maybe get your team ready for the loser's bracket and avoid what would be a toilet bowl loss for you, but a victory for everybody else in your league. We're here to help you with any and all of that. The final week of bye weeks in this weird, fucked up, we'll have bye weeks and we don't throughout this entire season. Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Zollo. Again, only one of them joins me because the other one hates me. It's just a weekly occurrence.
Look, it's Ryan's anniversary this week, okay?
Okay.
Couldn't
tell
be
me you
too mean to him.
Tell me you don't love me without telling me you don't love me. I don't know what. Okay, Marlia, you have a kid with him.
Marlia wins this round, okay?
Marlia, you have a kid with him. I have a show with him. Like, what? Tell me who's more important. Donovan or this? Jeez. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for the early questions already in the chat.
I was going to say, an early timestamp of 3:53 p.m.
Yeah, that's kind of insane. Yeah, which puts Vince and Jeff's 8:34 and 8:39 to shame, which we love you guys, but apparently you need to get on Woods Girl level because she was in here 5 hours before you guys. So shout out. And we will get to those to start the show in one sec. But I do want to bring up for those that missed it, and for Josh who was here and he did not have the chance to watch last week's show, my fun stat from last week, because there's an update to it. There's an update every week. And this week, it's an update in our favor. It's a more fun update for us. So, for those who weren't able to listen last week, might have forgotten, I brought to you an Aaron Rodgers stat. That's what I brought to you. And the stat was, Rodgers had started 12 games as a Jet, now has started 13. Really, that number is 12 because they are counting the one start in his first week of last season where he was injured 4 plays in. So any logical, reasonable human being is not going to count that game. So Josh, I ask you, since 1970, of all Jets quarterbacks who have started at least 10 games, now, keep in mind the stat that I pulled, nobody under 10 games, there was nobody at 10 games. It was either 9 or 11, and Rodgers was the 11. So, for all Jets quarterbacks since 1970 to have played at least 10 games, where do you think Aaron Rodgers ranks in win percentage?
I think he was like 3rd from the bottom, 4th from the bottom, something like that.
He was 3rd last week. Now he's 2nd. His win percentage, let's do some quick math, folks. He has 3 wins in 12 starts. If you know math, you want to know what that means? He has a 25% win percentage, or in a decimal point,
20%. 3 out of 15. That's
3 out of 12. 3 out of 12.
If he's 3 and 12, that's 15 total games.
Nope, he's won 3 games out of 12 games played.
Okay, so he's 3 and 9.
Yep, I said 3 out of 12 games.
Okay.
English. You got this. You're a script writer. Come on now. 3 out of 12 games, so he's a .250 win percentage. The only guy worse is Browning Nagel with a 2.31. If Aaron Rodgers loses this week in Miami, he will hold the worst record as a starting quarterback in New York Jets history. New York Jets history. Zach Wilson.
Experiment could not have gone any worse.
Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Josh McCown, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Geno Smith. The last 5 quarterbacks to start for the New York Jets since the Mark Sanchez era, where they were in the playoffs and went back-to-back AFC championship games. they all have a better win percentage than Aaron Rodgers as a New York Jets starting quarterback.
It's just wild.
You can't make this up. You can't make it up. That is insane. Future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers has the worst win percentage of any New York Jets quarterback.
I've never in my life seen somebody throw away a legacy
so fast
to their career the way that Aaron Rodgers has just shredded his legacy in the NFL with this
so fast
stint with the Jets. Oh my God.
And
unreal.
Look, you can say the Jets ruin players. That I'm not going to disagree with you on. But Brett Favre went there and he was 9-7. Aaron Rodgers did literally the same thing Brett Favre did. Left the Packers, went to the Jets. Brett Favre was 9-7, and either made the playoffs or was a fringe playoff team. So, very interesting. And thank you. Gator brings it up. He now has a Netflix documentary called Enigma coming out. Oh, God.
Why are we giving this man a soapbox?
Oh, God.
It's bad enough he's playing in New York and already has a soapbox built in with that media. He does not need it from Netflix.
Oh, my God. It hurts. It hurts inside. There's your fun stat, everyone, and we'll update you weekly, only if it goes in our favor. But we'll keep updating you weekly. If he loses to the Miami Dolphins next Wednesday, you will hear me come on the air and say, Aaron Rodgers is the worst starting quarterback in New York Jets history, and that is proven, literally based off record. Absolutely insane. Woods Girl, Thielen, Nick Westbrook-Ikine, or Keenan Allen for a half-point PPR flex this week. Josh, you answered this a lot earlier saying Keenan feels safer, but riding the Nick Westbrook-Ikine wave for another touchdown this week feels good. If it's full PPR, I like Keenan Allen more. Thielen is out of the question. It's Philly.
Yeah, not against Philly, not this week.
I'm all in on Nick Westbrook-Ikine. There's another 2-touchdown week. It's Jacksonville. Light him up, baby.
I'm honestly surprised when I saw the show sheet that Nick Westbrook-Ikine was not Ryan's choice for the 2-touchdown special. I was very shocked, considering how much we talked about him on Tuesday's waiver show. I was a little surprised. He did stick with the Titans, but a little surprised it wasn't Nick Westbrook-Ikine.
Yeah, it's Nick Westbrook-Ikine. Listen, all I know is I scored the second most points in my dynasty league and fucking lost because Ryan scored the most. I can't catch a damn break this season. My team, I started Nick Westbrook-Ikine in my lineup. My ragtag team of fucking misfits. Garrett Wilson was the lowest scoring player on my team. And I lose? What? What are we doing?
Oh, man.
Near perfect lineup that I set, and Ryan drops 206 points, which in our league is hard to do. That's not an easy 200. It's the average is 130, 140.
I was gonna say I'm first in that league, and I think I'm averaging about 160 a week.
Yeah, you've been putting up a lot of points.
Stacked.
No, your team's loaded, but Ryan's team is not. So he put up 206 points on me, and I was pissed. Oh, I hate Dynasty. Vince, please start soon. I don't want to watch my beloved Pacers anymore. They are trash. Vince.
I needed to star that, Joe, because you are in Indianapolis,
I know
you see quite a bit of Pacers.
Well, one, I don't watch the NBA unless it's the playoffs and it's the Celtics. Two,
but you at least hear about it being in the area.
Yeah, well, the Pacers. Indiana, known as a basketball state. I know people that work for the Pacers, so this is no dig at them. The Pacers have had the lowest attendance of any NBA team over the last 2.5 seasons.
That's rough.
The Pacers.
They were a playoff team last year, weren't they?
They were in the Eastern Conference Finals playoff team. It wasn't we just made it, guys. They were a 4 seed in the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah. So, Pacers. Jeff, need a receiver and a flex. Oh, God, why is Rico? Oh, God, I hate Rico Dowdle. Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr. I have options to not say Rico Dowdle, and I will stand by that.
This is true. This is fair.
Calvin Ridley and Jacoby Myers?
That's where I would go to.
I
do like the idea of Brian Thomas Jr. this week, but it's Ridley. That is a dream matchup for any wide receiver against Jacksonville. Jacoby Myers is seeing about a 29% target share without Devontae Adams in the lineup, especially, obviously with him getting traded. We know how good Brock Bowers is. That Tampa Bay pass defense is dog shit. It's fucking terrible. I don't care who's a quarterback. And Aiden O'Connell has zero issues slinging the football. To me, it's Ridley and Myers, especially in PPR.
I keep forgetting who's on the show every single week with me. So I believe I said last week that I have said from the beginning, you want Aiden O'Connell at quarterback instead of Gardner Minshew if you have Raiders weapons on your team. And shout out Brock
If it
Bowers.
were half PPR, I might lean BTJ over Myers because I think BTJ has better touchdown upside.
But Myers is going to catch so many balls.
Myers is going to catch a ton of footballs.
Yeah, it's Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, and then Trey Tucker for like one deep ball. Yeah. And that's the offense right now. Brock Bowers is insane. What is that man? He's absolutely ridiculous. Cap, Michael Wilson. I've never heard anybody call him Mike Wilson, unless his future wife and Queen of America, Miss Sophia Smith, calls him Mike, or Brandon Cooks. I don't know why I read that as Cox. That was not right. It wasn't right. I looked down quick. It was not right. Mike Wilson, Brandon Cox. Who we going with?
It's Cooks for me. I don't trust really anybody outside of Trey McBride on that Cardinals offense. Brandon Cooks, now that he's back from IR.
You don't even have to say that. They're playing Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's the other side of it, too.
That's the argument, is they're playing Cincinnati.
They're going to throw the football. Cincinnati's run defense has stepped up since, BJ Hill, and who's the other defensive tackle got healthy towards the middle of the season?
For the Bengals?
Yeah. Because they were like the worst run defense in the league the first month of the season.
This year, I don't know. DJ Reader's
DJ
gone.
Hill and somebody else. No, I know Reader's gone.
Yeah.
He went to Tennessee, I think, right?
Detroit.
Detroit, that's where it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, BJ Hill came back, and then their other starting defensive tackle came back, and they started to play better run defense, but their pass defense never really got better. So that's how teams have been beating them. And they're allowing 30 plus per game. I don't think this Cowboys offense is going to put up 30 plus, but Brandon Cooks finally started to show some life last week against the Giants. You can throw on the Giants. You can throw on the Bengals. I'll go Cooks here.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can do it against the Giants, you can do it against the Bengals, most definitely. Yeah. Cap, Vidal, or Disley? Disley.
Yeah, it's still Disley. I'm not ready to ride the Kamani Vidal train yet.
The Chiefs are the Chiefs allow the most points to tight ends, I believe. At least they did a few weeks ago. I remember Ryan bringing that up, that the Chiefs are horrible against the tight ends. Because he brought it up with Dawson Knox when
yeah, since week 9, the Chiefs allow the 6th most to tight ends.
So they're still horrible at it. Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about the Disley goose egg last week. The Chargers, outside of Ladd McConkey, just seemed like they were playing an off game. Also, also shout out the fucking New England Patriots for passing on Ladd McConkey. Shout out them. Shout out the fucking Bills passing on Ladd McConkey. Shout out the Chiefs passing on Ladd McConkey. Like, what? Who in their right mind looked at that draft and said, that guy's going to go like as the 7th receiver off the board? At least Brian Thomas hit. He's a dog.
Good. He's been good.
Hey, LSU receivers. I mean, really hard to miss.
I'll be honest. I was a little worried he might end up being more of a one-trick pony because the dude can fly. Kind of thought he might end up.
He can run routes.
Mold of he's looked really good even running routes. So
he's a Calvin Ridley on Atlanta, but like if you got,
I don't know if I go that far. I don't think he's.
Hold on, I haven't finished my sentence. He's like a Calvin Ridley on Atlanta if Atlanta was a Walmart. So like he's not
the great value Calvin.
Yeah,
Ridley
he's not. No, he's not brand name.
You simplified that very quickly.
But no, it's way funner to do the way I did. He's not brand name. He's like members mark. Like you go there, you have to join the club, you have to pay to get in. But it's still good. But it's not, it's no Kirkland brand. Come on now. It's no Kirkland, Costco. What are we doing? No, Disley's the guy here. Vince says he needs a kicker for Scott Fishbowl since McPherson decided to go to Cancun early. Is he on IR? I can't keep.
Yeah, they put him on IR this week.
I can't keep up with these fucking. Why everyone's injured? Why are the kickers injured? God, my generation is full of fucking bitches. What happened? What happened? Like they're NFL athletes. When have you go back 5 years? Was there ever a kicker that was hurt? Was there ever a kicker that was hurt?
No, really not.
No. What? Where did the pussies come from? What happened? What happened? This is ridiculous. The kickers. Harrison
Oh my God,
Butker.
I'm gonna have to clip this. Holy shit.
Oh my God. Harrison Butker's injured because he's fucking praying after every kick that he has. God. This is so, oh God. The Chiefs have put 3 fucking kickers on IR. How does that even possible?
I have no idea.
There haven't been 3 kickers on IR since the 1970s. God. Joshua Carty sucks. Ryland. You want Chad Ryland. He's kicking in a dome. And he's been good.
There you go.
Chad Ryland. Joshua Carty's an absolute fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah, he has not been good.
Jason Myers hasn't been good since 2 seasons ago. Go with
I don't even
Cardinals.
know who's kicking for the Cardinals right now.
Go with Cardinals, dude. It's Chad Ryland. Who's
kicking for the Cardinals?
For the New England Patriots
wasn't that their 2nd round pick last year?
4th. Please calm down. Okay, it was our 4th round pick.
Still
right?
Too high to spend on a kicker.
And he had the same field goal percentage that Justin Tucker currently has. So when you think about it, Bill Belichick drafted the best kicker in NFL history. When you think about it that way, don't ask me how our 4th round punter's doing either. He punted a ball 30 fucking yards. God, why can't he go on IR? God, I hate it here. I don't know. I just starred this. Mahomes out here about to win his 2nd ring on a bet. This is his 3rd on a bad ankle, and my quarterback in a cabin with no power somewhere smoking crack. That's the bet. That was a tweet? I didn't know that was a tweet. Okay.
I didn't either, but it's funny.
Cool. It's now a post on X because fuck Elon Musk. Joe, Devonta Smith, Quentin Johnston, Khalil Shakir, Jamison Williams, and Ridley are the wide receivers. Nick Westbrook-Ikine, Jalen Waddell, Xavier Worthy, Christian Watson. Is there another Watson? Okay, I guess Justin Watson. Marquez Valdes-Scantling available.
You know what? Appreciate you for actually putting the team there.
Joe, listen. Joe knows what's up. This is my burner account. Joe knows what's up. We talk to each other on the DL. I am dropping Quentin Johnson in a heartbeat, picking up Nick Westbrook-Ikine because they're the same human being, except one can catch and find the end zone.
Yeah, that's true.
I like this isn't even a joke. I mean this wholeheartedly. You're dropping Quentin Johnson and putting Nick Westbrook-Ikine in your lineup. This is not a joke. Nick Westbrook-Ikine.
Yeah, I mean Waddle's out there because Waddle's just not been good this year. Xavier Worthy, again, hit or miss. Christian Watson's another one. You can't trust him week to week. MVS has been decent, but again, the target volume's just not there. He's just the Nick Westbrook-Ikine light at this point. Of those guys, I have 0 issue dropping Quentin Johnston to pick up Nick Westbrook-Ikine, even though you have Ridley already.
8 touchdowns in his last 8 games.
8 games. He's about to make it 9.
The fucking king
Hell, he
of
can make
the
it 10
end
in
zone.
the last 9, honestly.
The fucking king of the end zone. Who needs Derrick Henry? They do. When you have Nick Westbrook-Ikine. All right? They probably have the same amount of touchdowns this season, right? I was
going to say, and what's really weird is that they actually paid Tony Pollard more money, if I'm not mistaken, than what the Ravens paid Derrick Henry. I mean, and it's not like Tony Pollard's been bad, but bringing back Derrick Henry would not have made this team any better, truthfully.
No, Pollard's younger, too. They gave him a 3-year deal. So, Gator, rank these guys. Travis Kelce, Jerry Jeudy, Evan Ingram, Drake London, or Devonta Smith this week. I'd probably put Smith dead last because of 1, matchup, 2, injury. He's just not going to see the football this week against Carolina.
He's just not seeing the passes at all.
Number 1 guy, I mean, probably Drake London. I would probably go London, Evan Ingram, Jerry Jeudy, Travis Kelce, Devonta Smith.
I think that's how I would go too. I would probably flip Ingram and Jeudy.
That's fine. I was between the two of those guys. This to me is just Evan Ingram time. This is the
time. It is, yeah. Was a little surprised he didn't do better last week, but he didn't do terrible. So.
T-Law got knocked. I'm kind of discounting last week because Trevor.
But even then, like Mac Jones came out slinging it. Like they were looking to throwing the ball pretty well.
To fucking Parker Washington.
Yeah, it was a lot of Parker Washington. So I'm curious to see how much that potentially shifts into Ingram's way in future weeks. Now that we know that Mac Jones is starting the rest of the season.
Yeah, 100%. Bang and play. Sounds like a porn website.
That's a Twitch handle right there.
Damn right. Should I trade James Cook for Joe Burrow? Cook is rotting on my bench. What the fuck are your running backs? And the guy who has Burrow has him with Chase and is probably going to the ship. If I take Burrow from him, won't that work in my favor? Both our teams are pretty equal after the trade. My other quarterback is Purdy. If you have a quarterback,
I'd rather have Burrow than Purdy.
And if you're not starting James Cook.
Right? Like, I'm guessing that you probably have some combination of... You could have gotten like Bijan, Barkley.
You got Bijan and Barkley. That's a steal.
Look, Scott Fishbowl, I got Barkley in the 3rd round, and that was super flex.
Yeah, well, that's because that's super flex.
Well, it's super flex, but Bijan was like a late first. Actually, no, he was an early first-round pick in my division. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's ways that people thought there were some people that were on the Barkley's going to do for Philly what Christian McCaffrey did for San Francisco, and other people were like, oh, well, he's on the downswing. He's been inefficient. He's got nothing left. So there was a lot of hodgepodge when it came to, where Barkley kind of fell in that. But again, like if that league favored the wide receivers, maybe Bijan fell and you got Barkley on the turn.
Mm-hmm. No, there's definitely a chance. And I know James Cook was kind of if you did my draft strategy, James Cook's your RB3. Like that's
could be RB4 potentially.
It could potentially be your RB4 as well.
Yeah, yes. And at the end of the day, if he's surplus, go get an upgraded quarterback. Zero issue with that.
Especially if it's like if you told me like Jordan Love, I would have been like, Jordan Love can still get you there. And Cook gives you
terrible for fantasy.
Well, he had 20 points last week. Is he going to light the world on fire? No, but he could still get you there. And then, Steven, thoughts on Kraft against Ferguson this week?
That's Kraft all day for me. I really don't trust Ferguson. Truthfully.
Yeah, I don't even think it's close. And then Tracy over Bryce in Superflex.
A running back. Oh, okay. This is the Superflex. Got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I have to step out. I have to step out real quick. I'm going to go Tracy over him.
Yeah, it's Tracy for me as well. I'm not dealing with Bryce Young against Philly. That's just not it for me. Even in half PPR, 100% fine with that, Steven. The thing with Superflex leagues, don't ever feel like you have to start a quarterback in that Superflex spot. Like if you know that they're going in a bad matchup, take the running back or the wide receiver that has more upside. Bryce Young has been trending up, which has been great. Philly has been absolutely dominant against really on defense as a whole. So don't feel like you have to roll with Bryce Young just because he's a quarterback. Go with Tyrone Tracy there. From Austin, start 3 in a full PPR. We've got Brian Thomas Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyreek Hill, Jacoby Myers, DeAndre Hopkins, Jameson Williams, Juwan Jennings. All right, start 3. We can immediately eliminate Jameson Williams. DeAndre Hopkins, I would put on the outside of that as well, and probably Juwan Jennings. The question marks around the San Francisco offense right now because of Trent Williams. If Trent Williams is out, I'm not relying on any San Francisco 49ers players. So you can take off the back 3 there. So Jacoby, Tyreek Hill, JSN, BTJ. BTJ's got a great matchup, as does Jacoby Myers. So for me, it boils down to JSN versus Tyreek Hill. I believe Miami plays the Jets this week. Yes. Jets come to Miami, and then Seattle goes to Arizona. Arizona's defense has actually been pretty good. So I think here I would sit JSN for Tyreek Hill. So Austin, hopefully that helps you out a little bit. And last one here from Joe before we get into some of these upsides and pay a few bills. Grabbing Nick Westbrook-Akine. So who is he starting? Took the L last week, so now I got to get the win to get in. All right, so let's drop back to this initial question here. So if we pick up Nick Westbrook-Akine, would you go Devonta Smith, Shakir, J-Mo, Ridley? J-Mo is going to be very hot or cold. Same thing with Nick Westbrook-Akine. So for me, it's going to be Westbrook-Akine over J-Mo. Shakir's pretty consistent. I like his floor. Ridley, I think, has the best combination of floor and upside. Devonta Smith, honestly, I think you'd be lucky to get 6 targets out of him, even coming back from the injury. I'm not 100% sold, but if this is a case where Philly decides to attack the second corner on Carolina instead of just running it all day with Saquon Barkley, Devonta Smith could have some upside here. But I think your safest bet, if you need a top 3, would be the 2 Tennessee receivers, Ridley and Westbrook-Akine, and then Shakir for a safer floor. That's kind of how I would go with that scenario. All right. Let's pay a few bills, actually, before Joe comes back. And I hate that he's leaving me to do this all by myself because I do not do well carrying a show by myself, but that's okay. Let's talk about our sister site and their partnership with Trophy Smack. Head over to trophysmack.com/WOFF. That's WOFF. Get all of your achievement-based needs. Championship season is right around the corner. Your playoffs are almost here. We'll be here next week. So get ready with purchases of championship belts, trophies, rings, wall smack to decorate your office, hallways, kids' rooms. All of it is customizable. You can even get all kinds of stuff to celebrate your wins, your commissioner, if you want to pay just get him something to make him feel a little bit better because it is a thankless job. Or even celebrate the loser of your league and thank them for sucking and making your life so much easier. All of that is available at trophysmack.com/WOFF. That's WOFF. Any and all commissions we earn from this partnership, it all goes towards us helping and providing for women to attend some of the NFL media events, i.e. the Super Bowl, the Combine, the NFL Draft. We're lucky enough to be able to get passes to send them to these events. We'd like to be able to help them with some of the expenses, airfare, hotels, all that good stuff. So once again, trophysmack.com/WOFF. That's WOFF. All right. Let's get into a little bit of the show sheet here. A couple quick news and notes. Azeez Al-Shaair, the linebacker that knocked out Trevor Lawrence, was suspended for 3 games. He appealed it. Suspension was upheld, and now he's playing the victim role because apparently he thinks he's the Joker. Trevor Lawrence was placed on IR as a result of the hit. He's likely done for the season, so it will be Mac Jones at the quarterback position for the Jaguars from here on out. The Giants have announced that Drew Lock will be starting this week for the Giants, and my beloved De'Vonta Johnson was suspended for 1 game by the Baltimore Ravens, apparently for refusing to enter the game against Philly. We all know it's because he saw how Cooper DeJean absolutely dropped Derrick Henry and said, I don't want a piece of that white boy. So we'll take that for what you will. All right, let's get into some of these upsides. I was off last week and unfortunately did not have a chance to make any picks. So I had the only winning record, so to speak, amongst the group last week. But my top 3 upside plays for this week: Saquon Barkley tops 200 total yards versus Carolina. Calvin Ridley goes over 20 fantasy points against the Jaguars. And Baker Mayfield throws 3 or more touchdown passes against the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll talk a little bit about Barkley, and it's not just because I'm an Eagles homer, okay? But he's hit this mark already twice this season. Since week 9, the Carolina Panthers allow, on average, 197 total yards to running backs per game. So all he needs is 3 more yards amongst the average to top this. This is my favorite stat. Just in second half yardage that Saquon Barkley has accumulated this season, you put that as an actual total among running backs and rushing yards this season, that ranks 4th in the NFL. I like this simply because Dallas Goedert is likely out. He's dealing with a knee injury, and they're calling it week to week. So I would not expect Dallas Goedert to play this week. So that's going to open up a lot of those short passing opportunities where Saquon can get some of these underneath flat routes, that kind of stuff. 2 weeks ago, he had 4 catches for 47 yards. So you pile that on with the 255 that he had, and he broke 300. I think 200 is well within the realm of possibilities here as Carolina travels to Philly, where Philly plays really good defense, and they'll likely want to just bleed the clock at the end of the game. We know how capable Saquon is of breaking these long runs. I think this is actually a pretty easy number to hit given the results here. So on to Ryan's top 3 this week. He was 0-3 last week. But you know what? These records are circumstantial, honestly, because so many of them are actually pretty close for us. But DeAndre Swift, 15-plus fantasy points against San Francisco. Jacoby Myers, 15-plus fantasy points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, of course, the 2-touchdown special goes to Tony Pollard this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've spent some time talking about how bad the Jaguars' defense is. Fairly certain that Tony Pollard should be able to do this pretty easily, given the circumstances. When it comes to the wide receiver position, since week 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars allow 1 receiving touchdown per game. So that's going to open up some opportunities on the ground game for Tony Pollard and potentially even Tajay Spears, who has not been getting as involved in the running game as we'd hoped this season. But Tony Pollard, the 2-touchdown special. So if anybody bets this and wins, we want to hear about it. So send those slips our way. Joe was 0-3 last week, but I like his top 3 this week because one of them right off the rip, Nick Westbrook-Ikine, top 15 versus the Jaguars. Telling you, going to hit that 9th touchdown in 9 games this week. He likes DJ Moore, top 8 against San Francisco. And Chase Brown, top 5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Look, I'm always going to love talking shit about the Dallas Cowboys because the Cowboys absolutely suck. And the run defense is even worse. The one thing we love about Chase Brown, the last 4 weeks, he's played 100%, 100%, 100%, and 92% of the running back snaps. The volume is there for Chase Brown to absolutely obliterate this Dallas Cowboys defense. Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense is clicking. I mean, they're scoring a ton of points. The problem is their defense keeps giving up a ton of points. Chase Brown will have every opportunity to continue his torrid pace and finish as a top 5 back this week. All right, I'm going to answer one of these start-sit questions really quick. Jose needs to pick 2 between James Conner, Breece Hall, and Isaac Guerendo. I'm quickly going to rule out Isaac Guerendo here. Again, the whole thing with the San Francisco offense, it really boils down to Trent Williams. If Trent Williams plays and the offense can operate, Isaac Guerendo will have an opportunity to succeed. A lot of us get very hyped about Isaac Guerendo simply because he broke off 1 long touchdown run in a game where, it was largely out of hand. Leaving it at that, I'm still going to trust Conner and Hall over Guerendo. I'm not going to jump on that Guerendo train quite yet. I know Conner has kind of been a little up and down, and Breece Hall kind of dealing with an injury, and we saw Isaiah Davis get it in the end zone last week. But to me, those are kind of your tried and true guys. I'm not really ready to chase upside here with Guerendo. As I said, I don't believe that Trent Williams is going to play. Suffered a tragic loss with his family this week. Likely going to keep him out for this game. So I would lean with Conner and Hall here. Steven, would you play Westbrook-Ikine over Darnell Mooney this week? Atlanta travels to Minnesota, I believe, for the Kirk Cousins revenge game. What's up, Joe? Welcome back. Thank you. I don't have to carry the questions anymore. I cannot hear you. No.
Fucking button down there.
There you go.
I was saying my mic over here was all the way up. I would listen to my headphones. You did a great job. I'm so proud of you.
I feel like I whipped through it a little bit, but I didn't really want to fluff it too much. So
no,
I usually leave that to you.
Listen, no one fluffs it like me. Come on now. Yeah. I have the AVN award for best fluffer. I mean, listen. No one else is coming up with that joke except me.
This is true. I would not have come up with that.
Yeah, I'm playing Nick Westbrook-Ikine over. When I tell you I have an insane amount of confidence in Nick Westbrook-Ikine, I'm like, I had confidence last week and it paid off. I am riding this Nick Westbrook-Ikine until he proves to me that he can't do it. If Nick Westbrook-Ikine had a quarterback, we may legitimately be talking about him as like a top 20 option by the end of the season.
Could be, yeah.
He has Will Levis.
100%.
Yeah, he has Will Levis right now, and
Will Levis has got a big arm. That was one of the things that a lot of scouts loved about him. He's got a big arm, and he can throw it downfield, and that fits very well with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine skill set.
Yeah, I mean, even when he was clicking with DeAndre Hopkins last year, they were clicking 40 yards down the field. Now, D-Hop wasn't getting much separation because he's ancient, but he doesn't need separation because put it anywhere in his vicinity, he's going to come down with the football. He's the modern-day Larry Fitzgerald at this point. And it's so funny that defenses allow guys like Westbrook-Ikhine and Marquez Valdes-Scantling to get behind them. They do one thing. They run straight. That's the only route that they have in their tree. So very interesting. I'm all in on Nick Westbrook-Ikhine.
Yeah, I'm on Westbrook this week too.
Hola, senor.
What's up, Daniel?
That is the extent of my Spanish. And Daniel, just so you know, Josh is Hispanic. His mother is a Spanish teacher. He speaks none of it. Or
hola, ¿cómo estás? I know.
Oh, bien. I'm proud. I got through two sentences back and forth when I went to Mexico, to Cancun, and then they said something, and I literally looked at them. And I said, "No, that's not. I can't do that."
Un poquito español.
I said no hablo. That was I didn't get that one, and then they spoke in English. I was like, okay, thank you. Start Evan Ingram or Sam, I assume Baby Laporta, and Keenan Allen or Shakir. I don't know if these are separate.
I'm going to assume they're separate.
I'm going to assume they're separate questions. I'm going to go Ingram and Keenan Allen.
That's where I would go as well. I think you still get the floor that Shakir has with Keenan, but you get a little bit more upside. Kind of similar with Evan Ingram. Sam Laporta has been a lot more involved in this offense. The Packers defense is very opportunistic. They're creating a lot of turnovers. And I don't really think that that's going to work in Laporta's favor. So I'm going to lean Ingram this week based on volume.
I agree. Vince dropped Jerry Juggles for Nick the Trick. Didn't even think twice.
I'm guessing this is Jerry Jeudy, and it was while Deshaun Watson was the quarterback.
I hope that was the case, and you didn't do that last week because it didn't pay off.
No, definitely not.
No, I don't think Jerry Jeudy repeats what he did last week. That was a Jerry Jeudy revenge game, if I've ever seen one. But I still like Jerry Jeudy moving forward. I don't like him for 43 points a week, but I like him moving forward. Yeah. Ivan, pick two. Essentially, who are you benching? Josh Jacobs, Bijan, or James Conner?
I don't love Jacobs' matchup, but I'm sitting James Conner here. Jacobs has been on a heater lately. The usage is skyrocketing, and that's what I want to trust more than anything.
Even last week when he had 43 yards on the ground, he was still productive in fantasy.
Top 5, yeah.
Yep. And the Lions have a good run defense, but they can easily give up a big play. They're not stout by any means.
No.
I don't love Jacobs this week. You're not. Yeah. You will not convince me to start James Conner most any week. I'm notorious don't like James Conner guy. Monty, Rashad White, Breece Hall / James Braylon Allen. I was reading James Cook or James Cook start 2.
It's Monty and James Cook for me.
Yeah, I was going to say the bookends, Monty and James Cook.
Yeah. Rashad White is very out for me. It's Bucky Irving season, baby.
It is, and you'll find later that Breece Hall can go kick fucking rocks. Go kick rocks, my guy. Jose, 2 receivers, a flexi, and a tight end. All right, let's get the tight end out of the way. Ingram or Jonnu?
It's always Jonnu. You're not sitting Jonnu. He is the tight end 1 overall since week 9.
That's Jonnu. It's not even close. And then your 3 out of the 3 receivers: CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. What a fucking name to throw into this pile of like top tier receivers. And let me tell you, wow, am I inclined to start Nick Westbrook-Ikhine.
Wouldn't go that
far. All right, so the lock, CeeDee Lamb against Cincy. That's a lock to me.
I think the lock is Mike Evans against the Raiders.
The lock is also Mike Evans against that back shoulder one-handed catch he had against J.C. Horn. Because after J.C. Horn had locked him up like the play before, Baker missed him, wasn't a great pass, and Baker goes right back to him. Fucking, okay, thanks, Mike. We get it, dude. You're the only guy to have.
I'm really surprised that Ryan didn't put Mike Evans as his 2-touchdown special. For as much love as he has for Mike Evans, I think Evans is going to absolutely eat this week. I seriously, insane. I think he might have 150 and 2 touchdowns. He's
got to keep up with it to get to the 1,000-yard mark again.
Yeah, exactly.
Lamb and Evans to me are the two. I don't like AJ Brown for the sole reason you said it in your upside. Saquon Barkley is just going to is the game. He's going to have the game. I think AJ Brown might catch a touchdown, but I don't think he's going to have like 108 catches. It's probably
I don't think he's going to go crazy. It's probably going to end up something like 5 for maybe 80 and a touchdown. I think that's. I was going
to say 3 for 50 and a touchdown. Like I
don't think he's got a single game under 5 catches this year.
Well, he's about to. I don't know if you looked at my downsides.
But for that reason, I would go Puka over AJ. Like, this is a very good problem to have, Jose. And as much as we love Nick Westbrook-Akine here,
we're not starting
in this conversation.
Yeah, no. Nick, sadly, Nick Westbrook-Akine cannot be started over Puka or AJ Brown. Puka, Lamb, Mike Evans. That's pretty clean sweep there. And Steven, are you guys down on Kirk Cousins moving forward? I mean,
I'm not high on him, but I think he'll bounce back. I don't think this is what's left for Kirk Cousins.
I don't know if I'm not starting him in fantasy, but I wouldn't be worried if I had a Drake London.
Yeah. And that was kind of what I talked about on Monday's recap show. Because we have our section, Chill the Fuck Out. And I put Kirk Cousins in the category because, yes, 4 interceptions, not great. He's been trending down performance-wise for literally 3 straight weeks in fantasy.
Yeah.
Simple fact is you're not starting him in fantasy right now. The only thing you need Kirk Cousins for is to continue to pepper Drake London with targets.
Mm-hmm.
And Drake London had 16 targets, a 42% target share last week. So that's quite honestly all I care about is if you're able to get Bijan the football, Drake London the football, you throw the ball to Kyle Pitts every now and again, but like the schedule going forward, I mean, it's not the best.
No, it's not great.
Like, it's not great. Like, he's got Minnesota this week, but they're at Vegas after that. The Giants, like, you can throw on the Panthers if you're not running on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're at Washington. Like, they should have Marshawn Lattimore back, and their secondary has played better. But, like, outside of Minnesota and Washington, those are the 2 hardest out of the remaining 5 games. So I think he's going to be just fine if you need to rely on in like a super flex league, Steven, which I know you play in. So if you've got another option this week, sure. If you want to hype yourself up into the
you got it. Words?
Revenge game narrative. That was the word I was looking for.
I had no idea where you were going. So
you want to hype yourself up for that?
I'm glad
sure, go for it.
Glad you got there. So here's something interesting. Now look, again, Joe throws in Cousins and Mustarka, Stroud, and Daniels are on a bye. Look, if you have to start him, you have to start him.
And this is a week where a lot of really good quarterbacks are on a bye, so you might have to rely on Cousins, and you just got to hope for that revenge game narrative.
Yeah,
because he's back in Minnesota where he has played well in the past.
So I'm going to take it down, but I want to just talk about the Cousins situation for a sec. I would not be surprised if they bring in Michael Penix in some of these final games. Now, if you have Drake London or Darnell Mooney, I'm not worried. If whoever's at quarterback, I'm not worried because those guys get open, and Michael Penix is going to want to rely and trust his top guys. Why I think the Falcons might do this. I think they may look to trade Kirk Cousins in the offseason if they think Penix is ready.
Could also be.
So, because
it makes sense. Like, you spent that high draft pick on him, get out
100%
that contract.
So, because in these situations right now, so if the season ended today, Jacksonville, Vegas, New York, those are your top 3 picks. Jacksonville will obviously trade out because they're not drafting a quarterback there. But let's look at teams that are either losing quarterback that might need a replacement. Like, the Jets are at 6. Let's say the Jets win a couple more games because they're capable of winning a couple more games. Let's say they end up, high single digits, low teens. Not too many good quarterbacks drifting around those spots. This quarterback class was deep. I don't think this next one's coming up is as deep. So maybe they trade for Kirk Cousins, who has shown decent reliability. There could be teams even towards that middle portion of the draft that might say, hey, why don't we see what we're doing, see what we can get out of this guy to try and do more stuff for us. Like, I'm even thinking like late in the game, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they'll bring back Russell Wilson, but let's say they don't.
They could want a veteran, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, and I pulled this stat on Monday's recap show, and I borrowed it from Doug Farrar, however you pronounce his last name, from SB Nation.
Yeah.
11 of Kirk Cousins' 13 interceptions have come from the pistol formation, which is something that Kirk Cousins has never really run before this year.
No, he's been a pocket
you're basically
guy.
fitting a square peg in a round hole at this point. So if Zach Robinson doesn't get head coaching consideration, which all these young hotshot offensive coordinators do, if Zach Robinson stays with Atlanta, it wouldn't surprise me if they explore the idea of trading Kirk Cousins, regardless 100%. Of whether they play Michael Penix at any point this year or not.
Yeah, and I think this is no comparison of the two players, but Patrick Mahomes was drafted 10. He didn't play until week 17 in his first year.
Correct. Yeah.
Right now, granted,
Penix has gotten a little run. Like, he's come in,
yeah, he's coming a couple times
out early one game, blowouts, things like that. So,
but now, granted, the uproar was, well, they didn't, the Chiefs didn't sign Alex Smith to a 4-year deal when they drafted Mahomes. No, that's what the Falcons did. Ivan, I preface these things because I hate when people bring up the comparison of Mahomes. I'm not comparing that. I'm comparing the draft slot. So you're 100% right.
I also was trying to figure out, I'm just going to bring this up. I was trying to figure out if it's the asinine takes that make you sound like Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Or just the voice.
Yeah, well, if it's the voice, I like Colin Cowherd's voice. I'll take that as a compliment. I think he's got a
great radio voice.
Yeah, I don't. I'll take that as a compliment. Cowherd is a traditional radio voice. I don't. So thank you, Ivan.
You
wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Ivan,
I
you're
like that.
my new favorite listeners, Ivan. You're great. Don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. If you said the other thing, though, we might have blocked you for at least a week. No, I appreciate that. No, we'll move on here as we get to the 48th minute. From Ivan, sit AJ for Hopkins so you can have Jacoby McConkey and Hopkins starting.
I still would not sit A.J. Brown for DeAndre Hopkins. I wouldn't go that far. The upside is just still there. Like, you're not.
The upside's there.
Yeah, you're gonna feel so much worse if you sit A.J. Brown and he goes off versus starting him and he has a pedestrian day.
Oh sure, I don't disagree with that at all. I love when the world burns. Put DeAndre Hopkins in your lineup. Now, this is not to say your world will burn, but I actually do.
But I'll even preface this. Even if you think that A.J. Brown is going to have a bad day, Jacoby Myers and Ladd McConkey should do just fine. So they'll help support a pedestrian day from A.J. Brown versus we've seen DeAndre Hopkins put up absolute duds.
Yeah, but he's about to be a dog. Look out.
Oh, shut up.
Don't let DeAndre Hopkins get hot. Okay? All right? I'm okay with it. Josh will definitely tell you no, but I'm okay with it. Got a late deadline. You do have a late deadline. Trying to get Bijan. Sent out an offer. James Cook, Brian Robinson for Bijan. He countered with Chase Brown in Cook for Bijan.
Oh, that's way too much.
This is a 10-man, Full PPR redraft, already got the playoff spot clinched. Current running backs are Chase Brown, James Cook, Brian Robinson, Bucky Irving, Tyrone Tracy, Jonathan Brooks. So he would be pairing Bucky Irving with Bijan Robinson probably for the playoffs.
I just don't see the need to make that trade. Because all you're doing is you're thinning your depth and you're not really gaining anything else by doing so. Like the points per game difference between Bijan and Chase Brown over the last month of the season is very minimal.
So slim.
Yeah, it's very minimal. So now you're basically trading, James Cook. You're inserting Bucky, I think, which is great, but you're probably running Bucky as a flex right now. Mm-hmm. So now you're downgrading from James Cook to Brian Robinson or Tyrone Tracy. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't like that trade at all.
Yeah, the only thing that would make it make sense, because it's a 10-man, so you probably have a decent waiver wire out there. Again, we're going to throw his name again. Is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine available to throw into your flex spot? But even then, that feels like a stretch. So I've been a Chase Brown champion since the offseason. I was discounting Zach Moss. I was full ready for Chase Brown and everything he was going to bring this year. So it's really hard to trade a guy with, as Josh said earlier, I mean, he's averaging 96% of the running back snaps over the last 4 weeks, 3 of those weeks being 100%. That's hard to trade a guy like that. And despite the Bengals record, one of the best offenses in recent history currently, their points per game is insane.
So to throw all this, and we can end the conversation here, since week 9, Chase Brown is averaging 29.9 or 21.9 fantasy points. Bijan Robinson, 21.7. So you're giving up the better running back right now. Mm-hmm. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Great bit from Vince. I love this. Considering Odunze and Jalen Polk's slow starts, Penix might well be the best quarterback prospect of all time. Hey, name me Patrick Mahomes' 2 wide receivers at Texas Tech that are in the league. You can't.
There you go.
I love that, Vince. That's fantastic. Find that stupid shit every single week and bring it to us. Downsides. Josh, Geno under 15. Pickens outside the top 30. Gus Edwards outside the top 24. I'll go with... I feel like Pickens and Edwards are easy guys. Geno Smith, I mean, last week was a little down. Overall, the season he's been humming.
Dude, he's gone under 16 fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's really not been good in fantasy.
He started off humming, and he's been slow in fantasy recently.
Yeah. Arizona 2 weeks ago held him to 12.4 fantasy points. The most concerning part of this, though, there's only 2 games this season where he's had more than 1 touchdown pass. There has been no real upside with him as a starting quarterback for fantasy football. None whatsoever. Yeah. And I wanted to bring this up because you're going to be desperate for quarterbacks because there's a lot of good ones on bye weeks this week.
Oh, yeah.
So just temper your expectation. And for all I know, this could be a very low-scoring fantasy week for quarterbacks, and 16 fantasy points might actually be QB 11. But that's why I put this as fantasy points and not under top 15 or something.
So I didn't put these in my upside.
Arizona's defense has played well. So
yeah, especially at home. And I didn't put this in my upside, but I like Cooper Rush a lot this week against Cincinnati. So that's a guy you would plug in over Geno in this situation.
Yep.
Ryan, Kirk Cousins outside the top 20. James Conner not top 10 against Seattle. In the no touchdown special, goes to both tight ends in the Minnesota-Atlanta game. Kyle Pitts and TJ Hawkinson, which only means
like a cop-out with Kyle Pitts. I'm just throwing that out there.
But doesn't that mean that Kyle Pitts is scoring a touchdown this week when you think about it?
I mean, we're not in London. I'm not that worried about it.
That's true. I guess we'll bring up, we talked about that Falcons offense, but we can talk a little bit about James Conner. they gave him the extension, 2-year extension, which was very surprising to me after drafting Trey Benson and him showing a little bit of promise. Seattle's run defense has been good. Breece Hall was horrible last week. Braylon Allen did nothing as his backup. Seattle's been playing well. Leonard Williams is playing like a man possessed right now.
Yeah. So what was it? A 93-yard fumble return for a touchdown or interception return?
Interception. Yeah, 92 or something like that.
Since week 9, Seattle third fewest fantasy points allowed to running backs.
And James Conner is not a world beater by any means. He's never really been that in his career.
I was going to say, usually by this point, he's been out for 4 weeks, and then he starts to heat up, but he hasn't he's been slowing down, but hasn't been hurt. So, something's catching up to him, it feels like.
Yep, fully. Me. I went goose egg last week because I prayed in the Miami downfall. I was right on the field that they were going to suck. Sadly,
individually.
Sadly, all of their fantasy points came in garbage time against base defense, so that one really killed me.
Matters.
And that I say that every week. And that's all that matters in fantasy football, right? That's all that matters is what the points look like at the end of the week. Sadly, for me and my upsides, it doesn't work in my favor, but I take that as a win. I have AJ Brown outside the top 15 against Carolina, as previously mentioned. Breece Hall outside the top 25 against Miami. If I could go lower, I would, but there's only 26 football teams playing this week. So that's pretty much putting him as the second to last starting running back in the NFL. And Travis Etienne will score less than 5 fantasy points this week against the Tennessee Titans.
I have to start Travis Etienne in one league.
He will have less than 5 fantasy points against the Tennessee Titans. Now, let me tell you, I had it at 4 earlier. And I said, you know what, Travis?
You had to give yourself a 1-point cushion?
I had to give myself a 1-point cushion. Because I looked and I said, well, he actually has never scored under 4 points outside of the week he got hurt. But he has hovered around 5 points 3 times this year. 5 on the dot, 5.3, 5.8. Tennessee, they had that one they let up that one run to B-Rob last week. They've been a good run defense a lot of this season. Jacksonville's on their backup quarterback. Jacksonville has the number 1 overall draft pick. That's how bad they've fucking been. Keep in mind, Trevor Lawrence has played a good amount of this season, and they still have the number 1 overall draft pick. So, Travis Etienne's been horrible. He is the RB, I have it up, RB, I believe, 38 on the year.
Yeah,
it is
a good season for him.
It's not pretty, and this is PPR. We always go based off PPR. He's the RB 38 on the year. Zach Moss, who has not played since week 9, has 2 less fantasy points than him.
Yeah, it's been a rough season.
That's horrible. That's an atrocious stat. Jerome Ford, 2 points behind Travis Etienne. Devin Singletary is within the same category as Travis Etienne in points scored.
You're hurting my soul. Move on.
The drop from 35 to 36, like the RB rankings, Justice Hill is 106.3 points. The drop, he's 35, to 36 is Tank Bigsby. It's a 19-point drop. He has 87 points. You want to talk about, like, where's the gap in running backs?
It's there.
There's your gap. There is your gap right there. And then as you get higher and higher up, I'm going to be honest, the whole running back class, I would say, is pretty tight this year. Saquon's running away with it. He has 30 more points than Derrick Henry. But everybody else, like, Henry, Kamara, Bijan, 254 to 226. Jahmyr Gibbs, Mixon, Etienne, Jacobs, all within 217 to 203. Kieran, you go down, they're all within those same categories. Travis Etienne is below any of that. He's been atrocious this year. And I luckily stayed away from him after I had him on my team last year, and I didn't want any part of him this year. So, all right. Tyler. Still Seattle's defense over the Bills and Otten over Johnson.
He mentioned still, because he brought this up during Cleat Dreams with myself and Renee. I said Seattle over Buffalo and Cade Otton over Juwan Johnson. So curious your thoughts, Joe.
Cade Otton over Juwan Johnson.
Yep.
He can grab Tennessee.
Yeah, he does mention that.
I was debating picking up Tennessee because I have the Texans defense in a lot of leagues, so I need a defense this week. I was debating Tennessee in leagues that I could. I would go Tennessee over Seattle, but if it's those two, I'm picking Seattle over the Bills.
I will say this, small spoiler alert, Ryan does have the Buffalo Bills as his stream of the week this week.
He did crush his stream of the week last week.
He's been crushing with his stream of the week, so there's a good chance that both of us were fucking stupid.
But the Rams,
that Rams offense just scares me. The Rams offense, like if I like traveling cross country and having to play that defense or playing that offense, I would not trust it at all.
Now again, it's not a trap game. You destroyed the 49ers. It was a blizzard. You were having the time of your lives, but blizzard game. I mean that takes a toll on you. The Bills are ranked last for me in this situation. Take that as you will. Tyler says he can grab Ferguson or Kincaid. I'm Cade Otton over both of those guys. Yeah, not even close. Joe asking how we feel about Trey Tucker.
He's a guy.
He's the great value Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and that's saying a lot.
I wouldn't even go that far.
Like MVS is the one-trick pony for the Saints, and Trey Tucker right now is the one-trick pony for the Raiders. I don't know. He kind of feels like a Jalen Guyton from a few seasons ago with the Chargers. You see Jalen Guyton catch one or two balls for like 70 yards each week. He gets targeted deep down the field, but you're never playing him in fantasy unless it's a desperation play. So,
correct.
And hey, maybe this week it is a desperation play because there are 6 teams on a bye, and you are in a deep league. You know, I would avoid if you can, but I mean, we mentioned that Bucs secondary is horrible, so Tucker can easily get behind it for one touchdown, and we know Aiden O'Connell doesn't mind slinging the football. Underdog props. We have the bonus code WOFF. Claim your free pick first time deposit offer up to $1,000 bonus cash. I didn't make a pick because I'm stupid, but you know what Josh did? Josh picked a kicker for you guys. And that's insane.
And every single time I pick a kicker, it always finds a way to backfire. So
well, Josh has Jake Bates higher than 2.5 extra points made. He's hit this in 2 of his last 3 games and 7 of his last 9. I like this one. In reality, you need the Lions to score 3 times. I like those odds.
They do that a lot this year.
I like those odds. Personally, I would take Jake Bates points, which my assumption
I think was 7.5.
I say most of the time when the extra points is 2.5 or more, tends to be 7.5 for kickers. I would take the over on his points because I think it's more likely of like 2 touchdowns and in 2 field goals.
Okay,
yep, or 3 field goals. Like I think there's a real possibility that
I thought about that too because there was a I think it was 1.5 or 2.5 on field goals, and there was pretty good odds on that. And I was going through and like looking at, field goals made and stuff like that. In more than half of his games, he's only kicked 1 field goal
because they score so much.
That's why I was like, I think I'd rather bet on the extra points here versus the field goals.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's why I would go for the points in that situation. I think Green Bay division matchup stiffens up on defense in the red zone a couple times. So that's why I would go with the points there. But I also like the extra points. And then streams of the week. Ryan's not here to fully do his, but his streams of the week this week are quarterback William Levis against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville sucks, folks. Plain and simple. That defense is horrible. Everything about them is horrible. Will Levis is a good start if you need him. Tight end Pat Freiermuth against Cleveland. We say Russell Wilson hates his tight ends.
Scored last week,
and you might need one this week. So Pat Freiermuth this week in the defense, as Josh mentioned, the Buffalo Bills against the Los Angeles Rams. While Josh and I both don't like the Bills, Ryan did knock his stream of the weeks out of the park last week, which normally means he'll cool off this week. No, he's been pretty lights out. Bills
Ryan will drop a short on this probably tomorrow morning. So you'll have his full analysis, and we also have his stream of the week article that will be coming out on the website, clubfantasyffl.com tomorrow as well.
I'll give a couple guesses as to what he might be grabbing at here. The Rams offense has cooled off as of late, and the Bills pass rush has been pretty solid. They got Matt Milano back, so being able to stuff the run a lot better with Matt Milano in there. He's a fantastic middle linebacker. Gregory Rousseau's been playing well on the edges, and while the secondary isn't great, they can play enough, I think, shell coverage to keep away the big plays at the very minimum from the Rams. So just a couple guesses as to why he might like the Bills this week. And for the first time in forever, 65 minutes in, we don't have a question to get to, which is crazy and insane. So, shout out Josh for holding it down while Joe had to tend to something. And
I do it when I have to.
And you did great. You did great. You've been watching a lot of.
First time you've ever played me a compliment.
Yeah, you've been watching. Well, you need it. You've been watching a lot of film on me and all the shit that I do, and just spewing whatever you want. You did a great job. I stole the show coming back, but
that's what happened.
You did a great job, and I'm proud
dealing
of
with
you.
that for 8 years. So.
Yeah, well, you can kick me off anytime if you'd like. I just sit here and talk. Ladies and gentlemen, the final week, I can say for most of you, unless you're in a smaller league, but the final week for most of you before playoffs. Now, if you're like me, might have a couple leagues that you're already in. Might have a couple leagues that you're fighting for a spot. Might have a couple leagues that you're already out of. One of them, I'm out in a dynasty league. Every other team I am contending in, but a dynasty team. Josh can admit, though, my dynasty team is looking promising.
It is. Yeah.
Looking promising because...
Thank you for that top 4 draft pick, by the way.
Did I give you a top 4 draft pick?
Yeah.
Oh, because I
have your first, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I have Garrett Wilson trade.
Yeah, that's fine. I have Garrett Wilson for the next 10 years. Get Aaron Rodgers out of there, and we'll be fine. I'm not worried. And Joe Ortiz asking Otner and Joku. That's not.
I'm still not moving off of Njoku. I like Otten this week, but yeah, I can't.
No, the fucking chief of his village. Yeah. Give me the chief, baby. If you stood Kate Otten and David Njoku next to each other, you think one's an insurance salesman and the other's a warrior?
I also don't think this week against the Steelers Browns is going to be as defensive as it was 2 weeks ago.
No, it's in Pittsburgh. It's always defensive in Cleveland, not in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And Steven throws in, what's your favorite game type? Redraft. Fuck everything else except redraft.
Keeper leagues can be fun. I will say keeper leagues can be fun.
Keeper leagues can be fun. I just listen, Steven. Let me talk to you a little bit about Dynasty. Right, Steven? We got time. What the fuck are we doing? It's a Wednesday night. We got time. Steven, let me talk to you a little bit about Dynasty. My team's good. I drafted well. There's no other way to put it.
That's well because you always have top 4 picks.
No, incorrect because the first round's a fucking wheel or deal. It doesn't matter. So here's what it is. I drafted Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers. Obviously, jury's still out on Jonathan Brooks. We don't know what's happening with him. Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. Obviously, all we need is Eberflus to be gone, and the Bears will be fine. We all know this for a fact. But I like to think Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers were pretty good fucking draft picks in previous years. I think I took George Pickens in the 2nd round last year. I've gotten Chase Brown. I got Jackson Smith and Jigba and Garrett Wilson in trades. I drafted Cedric Tillman. Guys, I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss. Oh, also, guys on my fucking IR that I didn't even mention. I have Rashee Rice on IR. And
you're welcome for him.
My king. And if thank God Dennis Allen's gone, because Kendre Miller can finally have his time in the fucking sun. So I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what to do. Again, I was the 2nd highest scoring team in the league and lost. I would have been 8 would have 8 wins this week in the league, but I fucking played the guy that put up 200 points. The first time this season, he's put up 200 points.
Yeah, Ryan's very young.
I hate Dynasty. Fucking hate. I hate everything. I hate all of it. It's so stupid.
I might actually, I'm going to put it to a vote in the offseason, but I think I might actually look to introduce median scoring.
No, introduce IDPs. Just give me something. Give me something, please.
Well, the one person that was very against IDP is now out of that league. So
great. Well, here we go. We'll sprinkle. We'll just do one. We'll sprinkle it in with one. Just do one. Just do one. Let me draft Zaire Franklin, and everything will be fine. Draft Zaire Franklin, everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay.
Oh, that's funny.
God, I fucking hate Dynasty. So waiver wires are barren, and that's how I win. I drafted Christian McCaffrey in the first round.
Well, you win with waiver wire because you don't like trading, and Dynasty's all about trading.
Listen, bitch, shut up. Because I drafted Christian McCaffrey in the first round of my work league. I've clinched a playoff spot. I don't even need to win this week. I don't even need to win.
That's
Christian
impressive
McCaffrey,
because everybody with Christian McCaffrey is flat
yeah.
out.
Christian McCaffrey has done nothing for me this year, and I am 8-5. Week 14, I'm 8-5. Clinched a playoff spot because I play the waiver wire like an absolute king, and I can't do that in Dynasty, which pisses me off. So that's why I hate Dynasty.
I'll end on this just because Emma brings it up. We don't talk a ton of college football here.
Oh, I did mention I was going to rant
I'm just going to leave it at this. I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. Fuck Alabama. Our 2 losses, yes, were against unranked teams. We've lost by a grand total of 9 points this season. Straight up. We did not get blown out by a 6-5 team. Okay?
I would say,
just throwing that out there.
Can I ask what 2 of Bama's 3 losses were against? They were also against unranked opponents.
There you go.
With less than 8 wins. So, look, you can just come out and say that, like, we want Alabama in for the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's just come out and say it. That's all. Listen, you can admit that you're money sluts and money whores. We all know that. We just need you to come out and admit and say, hey, here's who we want there, right? Because look, if you put Miami in and Miami gets shellacked, guess what? They got shellacked. It is what it is. Who is it?
Yeah, but our offense can keep up with anybody. So
it literally.
I'm not worried about the shellacking part. Like, we might give up 50 points, but we're gonna at least score 47. So
I just what I don't understand is you're keeping a Heisman Trophy candidate out of the college football playoff right now.
Yep.
Heisman Trophy candidate. Like, what are we doing? Like, Travis Hunter, Colorado didn't make it for obvious reasons. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make any sense. But Ashton Genty is fucking in there with Boise State. But
if they don't win their conference championship, they're not going to be in the playoffs.
No, they're out. Yeah, of course they're out. But you're telling fucking Miami? Really? You're not going to put Miami in?
Yeah, and it's not even like Miami's a scrub program in the sense of, like, they don't have any kind of history or nostalgia or anything. Like, people will want to see that. Like, I understand they're not Alabama because of what Alabama's done the last 25 years, but
you could argue that the 80s Miami Hurricanes are some of the greatest college football teams of all time.
Yep.
How about even the early 2000s Miami Hurricanes? Go look if you're like my age and weren't comprehending words in the early 2000s. I was just 5. If you just go look at like the early 2000s Miami Hurricanes and look at how many NFL like all-pro players they had on their roster. It was insane the amount. I think in the same backfield, they had Willis McGahee and Frank Gore.
And Clinton Portis.
In the same backfield. Yeah. And then Vince Wilfork was on that team. Was Reggie Wayne a Miami Hurricane, or am I imagining
Reggie
that?
Wayne, Andre Johnson were teammates.
Ed Reed went to Miami.
Ed Reed was a safety there. Yep.
Like what is that fucking roster? Who allowed that to happen?
Ray Lewis was a Miami Hurricane.
Who allowed that? That was before.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson was a Miami Hurricane.
Look, who allowed this? Who said Dwayne didn't fucking make the NFL? The guys that made the NFL that were Miami Hurricanes in the 2000s, and go back to Michael
was a Miami Hurricane.
Yeah, go back to Michael Irvin and those guys is insane too. Yeah. But that who allowed those things?
As Gator happen? Points out, it was the NIL before the NIL.
No, it was. Hey guys,
that's why we had all the sanctions in the mid 2000s and mid 90s.
It was like, hey guys, would you rather come to Miami, South Beach, hot girls, spring break, or Tuscaloosa?
There you go.
I don't know. Let me ask myself, Mr. Recruiter. I think I'd rather spend my time in South Beach instead of Tuscaloosa. Alabama's gonna start falling off a cliff here with Kalen DeBoer, and they're not gonna get the recruits that.
Yeah, they really haven't looked that good this year.
No, and also once the Hurricanes lose Mario Cristobal, they'll start getting more recruits as well. That fucking jag.
But here's the thing: Cristobal knows how to recruit. Cristobal is a good recruiter. He's a terrible coach.
Yeah, he can't coach. He's just a horrible coach.
Terrible.
Yeah, huge, massive, big for the program.
I started this, Joe. I started this for one simple reason. We are working on something, Emma.
Oh, we are. Oh my goodness.
We've actually I've been working with Gator. We almost had one for this season. Some late things kind of fell apart, but we're getting the ball back rolling. We're trying to incorporate it into what we're doing with Dynasty now here on Club Fantasy. So we're just stay tuned is all I can say.
I'll come on for a weekly analysis. Give me one game to watch every week. And I will.
That honestly, Joe, I just want you to sit, record for like Twitch, just watch a game and just, Twitch, YouTube, whatever.
Listen, guys, I'm not gonna. Here's the last two games that I've watched for college football. One was in person, one was on TV. I watched John Mechie obliterate Auburn in overtime. 5 plays, 5 catches, 3 touchdowns. Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you, John Mechie. All right? Waiting for that guy to get over cancer, and he's going to take over the fucking league. And then I watched Arizona and USC at the Coliseum, and I watched Drake London, 1, tear his ACL. 2, before tearing his ACL, destroyed every single guy that matched up against him. And I said, that guy's going to be pretty good. I had no idea who he was until I walked in and looked up on the roster online. Who is number 6 for USC? Didn't know his name. But I knew at that moment in time he was going to be good. Now, I also said Keontae Ingram I thought was going to be a dog, who I still enjoy me a little Keontae Ingram. And I think, he's getting shafted a little bit. But I did call Drake London, and I do stand by that. And I am still waiting on the John Mechie call. The man just got cancer, so that one's still up in the air. But yeah, I'll happily come on, watch one game a week, and give you my unfiltered overreaction of what I expect.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I tell you right now, every Alabama quarterback sucks. That's my analysis of that. Last thing, you know how fucking right I was on Jalen Milroe? My dad, my brother were all sitting there like, he's going to win the Heisman this year. Yeah.
He's got a big arm.
Hey, so did A.J. McCarron.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Huge. So did fucking Ryan Mallett. Fucking Arkansas.
We'll see how it goes.
Jesus. Horrible. All right, well, maybe we have some college football coming your way, folks. I won't be there. I don't fucking watch that shit. So stupid. I'll watch the national championship. For Josh, Ryan, myself, you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. URL, clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. Good luck. What I assume is your final regular season matchup of the year. Hopefully you win. If you lose, don't blame it on us. We can only control so much. Have a fantastic week, folks. We will see you